Okay, so last time we started with entropy. So we'll continue with entropy, right? So delta S is the change in entropy. Delta is change and S stands for entropy. So delta S refers to the change in entropy. So if I'm talking about the delta S system, I write delta S SYSTEM. And if I want to find out delta S surroundings, then I can write delta S and then subscript surroundings. Or in short, I can write SURR for surroundings and SYS for system. So delta S system plus delta S surroundings is equal to delta S total. That means if in any question I'm asked to find out the total value of change in entropy, then I have to find out delta S system plus delta S surroundings. Now total is also called universe because we know that system plus surroundings is equal to universe. So delta S of universe is nothing but delta S system plus delta S surroundings. So this is the mathematical definition of delta S system. So what is the mathematical definition of delta S system? Let's understand that. And then today we will derive some expressions for delta S. So here, if I say the definition for delta S system is given by this integral of dq system upon t system, dq system upon t system. T system refers to the temperature of system. It could be constant, it could be variable, depending on the process, depending on the conditions. If it is a constant, then I can take it outside the integral sign. So then 1 by t will appear outside the integral. And if it is a variable, let's say t also changes, then t will remain inside the integral. Now, what is this dq system that we are supposed to take in this? So dq system, as per definition, is reversible. That is the reversible change in heat. Now, what does that mean? Let's say I am going from state A to state B. Initial state of the system is A and the final state of the system is state B. Let's say this is what we have. So if the process is carried out in a reversible fashion, that is, if I subject the system to some reversible process and then I reach the state B. So from A to B, I have gone, that is, I have reached state B. But how have I reached? I have reached using a series of reversible processes, or I have reached maybe by using only one reversible process. But the point here is that I have used a reversible path in order to reach B from A. Whatever is the value of heat exchanged, that is lost or gained by the system, is going to be the dqRev or the dqSYS. So even if the actual process is irreversible, let's say I've gone from A to B by following an irreversible process, still I'm supposed to use the reversible path in order to calculate the value of dq system. This is the mathematical definition of dq system. So dq system is always going to be the heat exchanged by the system if the system is subjected to a reversible process in order to reach the final state B. So REV stands for reversible. So if I am subjecting my system to a reversible process or to a series of reversible processes in order to reach state B, then what is the value of heat exchanged? That is nothing but that is dqRev. So dqRev is always going to be the heat gained or lost by the system only and only if that system is subjected to a reversible process in order to reach the final state of the system. But for surroundings, that is not the case. For surroundings, for DQ surroundings, we take the actual heat gained or lost by the surroundings. Here we don't consider any alternative reversible path. So if the actual process is reversible, then we will take the reversible heat gained or lost by the surroundings. If the actual process is irreversible, then we will take the irreversible heat gained or lost by the surroundings. So for surroundings, there is no such constraint. For calculating the heat gained or lost by the surroundings, we will take into account the exact scenario or the exact situation which is taking place. So the exact situation is going to be used for calculating the heat gained or lost by the surroundings. For calculating heat gained or lost by the surroundings, we are not supposed to construct any reversible process or any alternative path for calculating DQ surroundings. Look, that is not required. For DQ surroundings, we are supposed to use only and only the actual value of heat gained or lost by the surroundings. So this is one very important point. That is for system, for calculating delta S of system, we are supposed to take the heat gained or lost in the reversible process. But for calculating the delta S of surroundings, we take the heat gained or lost by the surroundings in the actual process, which may be reversible, which may be reversible. So these are the two clearly distinct points for delta S system and delta S surroundings. Okay. Now, molar entropy. The unit of molar entropy will be joule per mole Kelvin. So if I say delta S molar or molar delta S, it means that change in entropy of 1 mole of a substance. So if the change in entropy is calculated for 1 mole of a substance, I call it molar entropy. I mean change in molar entropy because the delta symbol indicates change. If entropy increases, then delta S is positive. Obviously, the final value of entropy is higher than before. That means delta S is going to be positive. If entropy decreases, then delta S is negative. So what is the change in entropy if I say that a phase transformation is taking place from solid to liquid? So if I say that from solid, substance is getting converted to the liquid form, that means the molecules in the liquid are more chaotic because the molecules in a liquid move, move further, and they are in continuous motion. In the solid state of the particular component, the movement is much less than what it is in the liquid state because in the liquid state, the molecules are far apart. Similarly, if I'm saying that a liquid has transformed to a gas, in the gaseous state of the component, the molecules are moving randomly in zigzag manner, they are moving in various directions. And as a result of that, I can say that the system is highly chaotic. And so the entropy of the gaseous state is extremely high. So from solid to liquid, if I go, the entropy increases and so delta S is positive. Similarly, for liquid to gas, if I go, then also the delta S is positive because the entropy is increasing. And if I go in the reverse manner, that is if I go from gas to liquid, if I go from gas to liquid, then the entropy will decrease because gaseous state is much more chaotic than liquid state. Because in the liquid state, the molecules will not move to that extent. In the gaseous state, the molecules are free to move because you have large distances between two molecules in a gas. So if you're converting a gas to a liquid, then definitely the entropy is going to be less. And similarly, if you convert a liquid to a solid, again the entropy will drop. So I can say that delta S is negative if a system is getting converted from gas to liquid, or if a system is getting converted from a liquid to a solid. So delta S is much more when the gas state or the gaseous state is taken into consideration. So whenever there's a phase change, we can easily see both sides of the equation, that is the chemical equation that we write to represent the phase change, and then we can take a decision as to whether delta S is positive or negative. So on the left-hand side, we will say that the initial thing is present, that is before the change has occurred, and the right-hand side of the equation will tell me the final state of the system. So if it is from liquid to gas, then the liquid will be on the left-hand side of the arrow and the gas will be on the right-hand side of the arrow. So whatever is present on the right-hand side of the arrow will tell me about the final state. So if liquid to gas transition is taking place, that transition is accompanied by an increase in entropy, and so delta S is positive for such a transition. Okay. Now let's come to certain calculations involving delta S. But before coming to the calculations, we need to again understand reversible process. So briefly, I will tell you again the reversible process, which we have discussed in the first lecture. So reversible expansion of a gas. Let's consider isothermal reversible expansion of a gas. For an example, we are considering a reversible isothermal expansion of a gas. So what are we supposed to look at? We will see the changes in entropy of system and surroundings. How will we see? Let's now look at that. So if I have a gas inside a cylinder, the same old system which we used to consider earlier. So let's say I have this, let's say I have a cylinder. This is like a vessel or a cylinder. And if I have, let's say, some gas, any gas is present here. This is the piston which is present. So this is a movable piston. This is my system. What is my system? The system is the gas which is present. So this is my system. Now, let's say that on top of piston, I have many sand particles. Many sand particles. Let's say there are many sand particles. These are what? These are sand particles. Okay, now this wall or the surface of the cylinder is a conducting wall so that it can exchange heat with the surroundings. It can lose heat or it can gain heat depending upon the situation, but definitely it can exchange heat. So I'll call this wall a conducting wall. This is a conducting wall. So a conducting wall is present. A conducting wall can also be called a diathermal wall. So anything which is conducting is called diathermal. So what does it do? It allows the exchange of heat through it. Now, what is happening? Let's understand. We want to study reversible isothermal expansion. What are we studying? We are studying at the moment reversible reversible isothermal expansion. This is what we are studying. So what is happening? If the process is occurring in a reversible fashion, then definitely it has to occur very slowly, right? It has to occur very slowly. And since it is a case of expansion, I'll have to gradually reduce the external pressure. Focus on the word gradually. What did I say? I said I will gradually decrease the external pressure. Very slowly and gradually I'll decrease the external pressure. What is the external pressure in this case? That is in this example. It is the force exerted due to the sand particles which are present on top of the piston. There are many sand particles present on top of the piston, and because of these sand particles, some force is definitely going to be exerted on the piston, and that is why I'm saying that the pressure is exerted by the sand particles, and that is nothing but the external pressure which is present in this system. So the external pressure is nothing but the pressure which is acting on the piston. What is it? It is due to the presence of the sand particles. That is why the gas is present in this manner. Right? Now, if I want to cause a reversible expansion of this gas, what am I supposed to do? I will gradually and slowly try to decrease the pressure which is acting on the piston. Then only the gas will expand. So, if I want to remove, let's say, one or two sand particles, just one or two. So if I remove one or two sand particles from the top of the piston, then obviously the pressure acting on the piston will now reduce by a very small amount. So the new pressure which is now acting is going to be due to the presence of only the remaining sand particles after removal of one or two sand particles. So whatever sand particles are now remaining will exert the pressure, and that is going to be my new pressure. So this new pressure is definitely going to be less than the original pressure, because the original pressure was due to the presence of all the sand particles. But right now I have removed just one sand particle, and since I have removed only one sand particle, the piston will undergo movement in the upward direction very slightly, because I have removed only one sand particle. So this is the position of the piston. Let's say initial position is this. Because I have removed one sand particle, the new position of the piston is going to be this. Again, I will remove another sand particle. So the new position of the piston now will be this. So in this manner, I will have multiple positions of the piston depending on the number of sand particles that I remove. Since I'm removing one sand particle at a time, so the pressure is going to decrease very slowly, and that is why it is an example of a reversible isothermal expansion. So the temperature of the gas is maintained constant. Now, how does it remain constant? The temperature of the gas is remained constant because the temperature of the gas is remaining constant because the wall is conducting. Since the wall is conducting, it can definitely take heat from the surroundings. It can do what? It can take heat or absorb heat from the surroundings. So the temperature will be maintained in that manner so that I have exactly the same temperature throughout the process. How will we ensure that? We will ensure that by making the wall conducting and regulating it in such a manner so that a slight amount of heat is gone every time the piston moves up. So every time this piston moves up, a very little amount of heat is absorbed by the gas from the surroundings. So a tiny amount of heat goes into the gas from the surroundings. Why? In order to maintain the same temperature. But how does this happen? This happens because I'm moving the piston slowly and slowly in the upward direction. So I can see that every time the piston moves upward, there is a change in the pressure. There is a change in the pressure. Why so? Because, as I said, when I remove the sand particle, when I remove one sand particle, the new pressure which is acting now on the piston is because of the existing sand particles. Similarly, when I remove another sand particle, again the new pressure will be due to the existing sand particles, and so on. Now, when we discussed the reversible process in the first lecture, I gave you one point there. That is, at every point, the system and surroundings are in equilibrium. So what does that mean? That means this. When the position of piston changes, for example, if this is the new position of the piston after removal of just one sand particle, then I can say now the pressure of the sand particles is acting in this manner. That is because of the remaining sand particles. And immediately the pressure of the gas also will be in this way. That means I can say that the piston has stopped at that point. It has not moved after that. I have removed one sand particle, and then immediately after my removal of one sand particle, the piston has gone up very slightly, and the piston has immediately stopped after going up. Why has it stopped? It has stopped because I can say that the pressure due to the remaining sand particles is now exactly balanced by the pressure of the gas. So I can say that P external is equal to P gas. When is this applicable? This is applicable at every point. Why? Because at every point the pressure is changing. Why is it changing? Because I'm removing one sand particle at a time. So the moment I remove one sand particle, the external pressure falls. Because the external pressure falls, the pressure inside the gas also falls, because the piston will stop moving only if the our external pressure is exactly equal to the internal pressure of the gas. So I can say that at each and every point, equilibrium is maintained in a reversible process because the external pressure is exactly equal to the pressure of gas. That is what we mean by equilibrium. So the system and surroundings are in equilibrium at each and every point corresponding to the position of the piston. In this manner, gradually we'll say in the next point also. So let's say it has reached here. Again, that same equation is applicable. That is now again the new external pressure is equal to the pressure of the gas. Again, the new external pressure is equal to the new pressure of the gas. Again, here the new external pressure is equal to the pressure of the gas. Again, the new external pressure here is equal to the pressure of the gas, and so on. So in this manner, slowly and gradually at each and every point, the pressure of the gas is exactly equal to the pressure acting on top of the piston. That is why we are calling it a reversible process. And that is why we say that at each and every point, the system and surroundings are in equilibrium. So each point corresponds to a particular position of the piston. And that is why you get this kind of curve, that is PV curve. So it is a continuous curve because this curve is obtained when you plot all the points, all the possible points which are corresponding to the positions of the piston. So every point, if you join all the points, you will get a curve like this. That is why we say that it is a continuous curve for a reversible process. So all the points are joined to get the curve. Why are all the points joined? Because we have all such possibilities between the initial state and the final state. Why do we have so many possibilities? Because the process is taking place extremely slowly, and so there are infinite positions of the piston which are possible between the initial state and the final state. So between the initial state and the final state, I am able to plot a curve, and that curve contains all those points which correspond to the positions of the piston gradually moving up slowly, slowly, slowly. So coming to the temperature part now. So this part is clear to you because P external is why P external is equal to P internal. That is clear to you because at each and every point the piston stops. So the piston stops, indicating that the pressure of the gas is exactly counterbalanced by the external pressure. Now coming to the temperature. Whatever is my system is going to be studied. That means I can say that the system is just under consideration for the purpose of study. That is, if I'm studying a particular cylinder containing a gas, that is my system. Anything which is outside that component is not my system. Anything which is outside the system is a part of surroundings. So I can say everything here is surroundings. Everything outside this beaker or cylinder is a part of surroundings. So everything here is surroundings. Everything here is surroundings. Everything here is surroundings. Everything here is surroundings. Why am I emphasizing this fact? This emphasis is being laid on because I want to make you understand that the system which we are studying is just a small portion of my universe. Now, what is universe? Universe is equal to a system plus surroundings. So if I just take out the system component from the universe, I'll be left with the surroundings. Which means that the system is so small that it is just a portion for my study, and it is a very small portion of the entire universe. That means whatever is outside my system, I repeat, that means whatever is outside my system, whatever is outside my system is going to be extremely large in size, and that is treated as a reservoir. Whatever is lying outside the system is called a reservoir. It's like a reservoir. I'm comparing the surroundings to a reservoir. What is a reservoir? So a reservoir is like the atmosphere. It is like a large, very large body, or a very large entity, which which is extremely large. I mean, whose size is much larger as compared to the size of the system, and therefore any amount of heat exchanged does not cause any turbulence in the reservoir. I repeat, any kind of heat or any amount of heat exchanged, that is, heat is taken out from the reservoir or heat is given to the reservoir, will not cause any turbulence in it. What do I mean by the word turbulence? Turbulence is a disturbance. What does that mean? So that means that the temperature of the surroundings is not going to change by any significant amount. Why? Because the temperature is not going to be affected by any amount of heat which you take from the surroundings, or if you give heat to the surroundings. Why is this so? Because the size of the surroundings is much larger than the size of the system. So it is like the environment or the atmosphere. For example, now if I tell you that in my room, if I have a very large room, and in that room, if I just put some amount of, let's say I place some a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, okay, and inside that room, if I'm placing a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, which is hot, now after some time, the coffee or tea will become cold because it was hot initially. So after some time, if the coffee or tea has become cold, then will I say that the temperature of room has changed? No, I will not say that. I will not say that the temperature of the room has changed. Why? Because the room is much larger than the cup containing coffee or tea. So any heat lost or gained by the portion of the room is not going to cause any significant impact on its temperature. So the temperature of the room is still going to be the same after the cup of coffee has become cold. Similarly, here also we are doing the same. So the temperature is not going to be affected, and the temperature is being maintained at T because the process is isothermal. So the temperature of the surroundings will also be T after the process is complete. So T is representing temperature in Kelvin for both the surroundings and the system. So T refers to the temperature in Kelvin for the system also, because the system is undergoing an isothermal process. So that system will have a same temperature throughout. And also I can say that the same value of temperature is going to be for the surroundings, because the surroundings are like a reservoir. Now coming to the derivation, mathematical derivation. If I have a reversible isothermal process, be it expansion or compression, anything, but if it is a reversible isothermal process, then how am I supposed to calculate the value of delta S? So delta S, what is delta S? Delta S is change in entropy. Mathematically, what is delta S of system and what is delta S of surroundings? Mathematically, this is what we say. So for a reversible isothermal process, delta S system is given by integral dq reversible upon T, where dq reversible is the heat exchanged by the system if the system is subjected to a reversible process. Using the first law of thermodynamics, du is equal to dq plus dw. Now temperature is constant for isothermal, so du is going to be 0, because we know that du depends on the temperature only. It does not depend on any other thing, because we are dealing with ideal gases. So if I put du equal to 0, I get dq is equal to minus dw. Now dw is minus pdv, that we know already. dw is nothing but minus pdv. So on substituting the values, I'll get this. dq is equal to minus pdv. This minus pdv is nothing but, I can say, pdv, because minus become plus. Now, as I said, we are considering a reversible process. So P external is exactly same as P internal, that is P gas. And so I can say that this P is nothing but nRT by V for an ideal gas. I can put the value here and then I can use the value. I can integrate from V1 to V2 because the volume is changing, be it expansion or compression, the volume will change. So this dq reversible comes out to be nRT upon Vt. This is the value of dq reversible. Put the value of dq reversible here and integrate, you will get this. So that means delta S system is equal to 2.303 nR log V2 by V1. This is for a reversible isothermal process. So delta S system is going to be this value. You have to remember the formula, so that you are able to use it directly. They ask you to calculate the value of delta S system for a reversible isothermal process. Derivation I've shown so that you know how to derive it just for the concept. Now this ln, as you know that ln x is equal to 2.303 log x. When I write log x in chemistry, by default the base is 10. By default the base is 10. Now, delta S for surroundings. Delta S for surroundings.
सर आप 1 मिनट थोड़ा ऊपर स्क्रॉल करेंगे? सर हम आइसोथर्मल प्रोसेस के साथ डील कर रहे थे ना, तो हमने
Yes.
माइनस PdV की जगह वर्क डन आइसोथर्मल के लिए क्यों नहीं लिया 2.33 वाला?
No, why I ultimately I'm showing you the differential form and then integrating and showing you. Even if you do that, you will get the same answer. मैंने ये डिटेल में derivation दिखा है because some students in the morning batch also wanted to know the detailed derivation. इसके लिए मैंने दिखा दिया.
ओके सर.
तुम जो बोल रही हो वो डायरेक्टली डाल के भी कर सकते हैं, इससे भी आंसर वही आएगा. Okay, so this is how it is. Now surroundings. So for surroundings, I'll take this. Now, as you know, if the process is reversible, then whatever heat is lost or gained is going to be same for both surroundings and system in terms of its magnitude. What do I mean by that? I mean that if the system has gained heat, that is absorbed heat from the surroundings, that means I can also say that the surroundings have lost heat to the system. So whatever amount of heat is being taken by the system is nothing but the heat which the surroundings have lost. Or in other words, if the system is losing heat, if the system is releasing heat to the surroundings, that means the surroundings are going to absorb the heat which has been given out by the system. So in terms of magnitude, if I see the value of heat which is lost is exactly equal to the value of heat which is gained in terms of magnitude. But in terms of sign, if I say, then I have to put dq surrounding is equal to minus dq system. Why? Because if surroundings are losing heat, then system is gaining heat. If surroundings are gaining heat, that means the system is losing heat. So I have to put a minus sign in order to indicate that dq surroundings is always going to be the negative of dq system, or I can say the dq system is always going to be the negative of dq surroundings. When is this happening? This is happening only when there is a process of heat exchange between the system and surroundings. If the wall is conducting or diathermal, then only heat can be exchanged between system and surroundings. So dq surroundings is nothing but equal to minus dq system. Temperature is same as I said. Temperature of surroundings is also going to be T, and T is the temperature of system also because it's isothermal. And if I put the value here, I'll get this. So minus 2.303 nR log V2 by V1 is going to be the delta S of surroundings for an isothermal reversible process. So what is the difference between delta S surroundings and delta S system? It's just a difference of minus sign. So I can say that for a reversible isothermal process, delta S system plus delta S surroundings is equal to 0. Right? I can say delta S system plus delta S surroundings is equal to 0. Delta S system plus delta S surroundings is equal to 0. So this is what I can say for a reversible process. So delta S system plus delta S surroundings is equal to 0. Okay. Now let's go to reversible adiabatic process. If it is a reversible adiabatic process, then this is what I'll say. Delta S system is equal to dq system upon T. Now already the process is reversible. So directly I can take that same value of dq, which is actual heat exchanged. But we know that in an adiabatic process, no heat is exchanged between system and surroundings. So dq is 0. So straight away I take it as 0. So delta S system is 0. Also, delta surroundings will be this form in the form of this formula. But if the system and surroundings are incapable of exchanging heat with each other, then even dq surroundings is going to be 0 because the system has not gained or lost heat. Likewise, the surroundings have also not gained or lost heat because there is no possibility of exchange of heat between system and surroundings. That is why you are calling it an adiabatic process. So again, this comes out to be 0. Can I again say that this equation holds true for a reversible adiabatic process as well? That is delta S system plus delta S surroundings is equal to 0. So delta S system plus delta S surroundings is equal to 0 for a reversible isothermal process also and for a reversible adiabatic process also. So this equation is going to hold true for any reversible process. That is the conclusion. Delta S system plus delta S surroundings is always going to be equal to 0 for any reversible process or for any reversible process taking place at equilibrium. So we will study that equilibrium later. But as of now, just remember, for any reversible process, delta S system plus delta S surroundings is equal to 0. And for any chemical reaction at equilibrium, I can say that delta S system plus delta S surroundings is equal to 0. Okay. Now delta S in an irreversible isothermal process. So now we are considering an irreversible isothermal process. Earlier we just did reversible isothermal process. So this was a reversible isothermal process, what we did here. This was a reversible isothermal process. Now we are going to do an irreversible isothermal process. Okay. What did I tell you for the definition of delta S of system? I told you very clearly about this. Even if the actual process is irreversible, I have to devise or I have to look for an alternative reversible process taking place between A and B, that is between initial state and final state. So even if the actual process is irreversible, I did not focus on that. I just need to focus on a possible process. I repeat, I just need to focus on a possible process which is reversible and which can give me the same result, that is the same final state as B. So the final state cannot change. the final state has to be same as what you had obtained for the actual irreversible process. So if B was the final state in the actual irreversible process, then by following an alternative reversible process also you should achieve B as your final state of the system. So if I'm achieving B as the final state of my system using a reversible isothermal process, then I can say this. So in this way again, because it is a reversible process that I have chosen in order to find out the value of dq, I can say again this thing. All these things will hold true again because I'm just focusing on a reversible process which is taken as an alternative process existing between the same initial and final states. That is A and B. Okay. So now if I want to substitute the values only for the dq of system, because I am assuming that the system has undergone a reversible process between state A and state B, I am going to use dq reversible and I'll put the value of dq reversible in this manner. So again, the same assumption has been taken, that is P external is equal to P gas because it is a reversible process. And on putting all those values, finally, again, I'll get delta S system as this. So this value which I've obtained is exactly same as what I had obtained when the process was actually reversible. Look at this. Delta S system is equal to 2.303 nr log V2 upon V1. The same value was obtained when I did this, that is delta S system for the actual reversible process. So delta S system is same for both irreversible isothermal process and reversible isothermal process. The value of delta S system is not different, it is the same. Because I have taken only and only a reversible process between state A and state B to find out the value of dq. But
अगर irreversible isothermal दिया है तो हम उसकी जगह reversible isothermal यूज करेंगे.
yes.
तो जो भी कंडीशन उन्होंने सेकेंडरी दी है आइसोथर्मल आइसोबारिक, वो irreversible की जगह रिवर्सिबल ले लेंगे, बस वही करना है.
but for system, not for surroundings.
ओके सर.
मैंने सिर्फ सिस्टम के लिए काम करना है आपको, मैंने भी नहीं किया है. अभी सराउंडिंग्स पे आते हैं. सराउंडिंग्स में रिवर्सिबल नहीं, सराउंडिंग्स में मैंने क्या बोला था, एज पर मैथमेटिकल डेफिनेशन जो एक्चुअल हीट एक्सचेंज हो रहा है वो ही लेना है. सो लेट्स डू दैट नाउ.
सर उसे रिवर्सिबल लेने से कुछ मतलब गलती नहीं होगी क्या आंसर में?
नहीं, दैट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ एंट्रोपी चेंज ना. वही तो एंट्रोपी चेंज का डेफिनेशन है कि वही वैल्यू जो रिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस में आएगा, दैट इज कॉल्ड डेल्टा एस ऑफ सिस्टम. डेफिनेशन ही वो है. बट दैट इज ओनली फॉर सिस्टम. वो डेफिनेशन सिर्फ सिस्टम के लिए एप्लीकेबल है, नॉट फॉर सराउंडिंग्स. सराउंडिंग्स के लिए ये डेफिनेशन है कि जो एक्चुअल हीट है वही लेना होता है. सो एक्चुअल हीट. नाउ सी, नाउ विल अंडरस्टैंड द डिफरेंस. नाउ डेल्टा एस ऑफ सराउंडिंग्स. What is the actual heat gained or lost by the surroundings? That we have to focus on. Okay. So Q surroundings now is the actual value of heat gained or lost by the surroundings in the irreversible isothermal process. Again, going back to the same thing, Q surroundings is equal to minus Q system. Why? Whatever heat is being taken by the system is coming from the surroundings. Or if a system is releasing heat, that released heat is going back to the surroundings. That means the magnitude of heat is same for both the system and the surroundings. जो system lose कर रहा है वही तो surroundings gain कर रहा है, या फिर जो surroundings lose कर रहा है वही तो system gain कर रहा है. So again I can say that Q surroundings is equal to minus Q system. This is for the actual process. मतलब in this case for the irreversible process. Actually वही हो रहा है ना, actually तो वही हो रहा है. Actual Q तो यही है ना, जो irreversible में हो रहा है. वो reversible वाला तो imaginary था. जो actual heat है वो कौन सा है? वो तो irreversible expansion या compression जो हो रहा है वो है. तो अभी वो निकालना पड़ेगा, मतलब actual heat. So actual heat. Now if I want to find out the actual heat, how will I find out? Same thing. Q surroundings is equal to minus Q system. What is Q system? Q system is the actual heat gained or lost in the reversible isothermal process. Using the first law of thermodynamics, this I can get this. How will I get this? Because delta U is equal to Q plus W in process according to the first law. For an isothermal process, delta U is equal to 0 because there is no change in temperature of the ideal gas. So Q is equal to minus W. But this equation is being used currently for the system, not for the surroundings. This equation currently I'm using for the system. So if I use this equation for the system, this is what I'll get. So actual work done is what? Minus P external into V2 minus V1. Why am I using this formula? Because it is an irreversible process. I told you that for any irreversible process, the value of work done is calculated by using this formula. That is W is equal to minus P external into V2 minus V1. Right. So this is what I'll get. Q system is this. Now Q surroundings is minus Q system, so I'll put the value. So this is the value of Q surroundings. Now delta S surroundings. So this comes out to be the delta S surroundings for an irreversible isothermal process. So now the actual value of delta S surroundings is this. Which means that for surroundings we have taken the actual heat gained or lost. But for the system we took a hypothetical path which was a reversible path. That is the difference between delta S system and delta S surroundings.
सर वो हाइपोथेटिकल पाथ हम सिर्फ डेफिनेशन सेटिस्फाई करने के लिए ले रहे हैं ना,
Yes.
लाइक प्रैक्टिकली तो बहुत डिफरेंस हो जाएगा.
नहीं तो वही डेल्टा एस का डेफिनेशन है ना, प्रैक्टिकल नहीं लेना है. डेल्टा एस का डेफिनेशन सिस्टम का वो है कि अगर वही सिस्टम को मैं रिवर्सिबली कराऊं तो क्या चेंजेस आएंगे. दैट इज कॉल्ड डेल्टा एस. दैट इज व्हाई डेल्टा एस इज अ स्टेट फंक्शन. इट जस्ट डिपेंड्स ऑन द इनिशियल एंड फाइनल स्टेट्स ऑफ द सिस्टम. इसके लिए तो वो स्टेट फंक्शन है.
सर अगर डेल्टा एस मतलब कॉन्सेप्ट ही हाइपोथेटिकल है तो उसका फिजिकल सिग्निफिकेंस
कॉन्सेप्ट हाइपोथेटिकल नहीं है. कॉन्सेप्ट यही है कि मैथमेटिकली मैं कुछ प्रूव कर रहा हूं. अभी हम लोग आगे गए रही है, मैंने सिर्फ आपको डेल्टा एस कैलकुलेशन सिखाया है. तो मैथमेटिकली किसी भी चीज के लिए हमारे स्टडी को सिंपल बनाने के लिए वी हैव क्वांटिफाइड दिस. बोलते हैं ना, अगर कुछ फिगर हमारे पास आ जाएगा तो आसान हो जाएगा. तो इसके लिए एक जनरलाइज वर्जन करने के लिए हम लोगों ने 2 तरीकों के सिस्टम्स पढ़े हैं, एक रिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस और एक इरिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस. तो दोनों केस में हम लोगों ने ये देखा, अल्टीमेटली साइंटिस्ट ने डेल्टा एस कैलकुलेट करने के बाद ये देखा, क्या देखा कि डेल्टा एस सिस्टम प्लस डेल्टा एस सराउंडिंग्स इज इक्वल टू 0. दिस इज फॉर अ रिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस. कोई भी रिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस के लिए ये है. एंड डेल्टा एस सिस्टम प्लस डेल्टा एस सराउंडिंग्स is greater than 0 for any irreversible process. ये देखा गया है और ये तभी का तभी पॉसिबल है जब दोनों केस में ये चीज का डेफिनेशन वो हो. क्या हो कि अगर उसी सिस्टम को हम लोगों ने A to B रिवर्सिबली लेके गए तो क्या वैल्यू आएगा dq अपॉन t का, दैट इज कॉल्ड डेल्टा एस ऑफ सिस्टम। तो ये इसलिए बनाया गया था, ये डेफिनेशन इसलिए मैथमेटिकली दिया गया था, so that we have clearly two distinct categories, that is clearly two distinct values. Which values? One will be 0, exact equal to 0 आ जाएगा तो रिवर्सिबल है, और दूसरा है आपका पॉजिटिव, दैट इज ग्रेटर देन 0। सो जनरलाइज करने के लिए ये डेफिनेशन दिया था ताकि डेल्टा एस सिस्टम कभी भी आप निकालोगे यही सोच के कि वो प्रोसेस अगर रिवर्सिबली हो रहा है तो क्या वैल्यू आ रहा है या क्या वैल्यू आता। दैट इज द कंसेप्ट ऑफ डेल्टा एस ऑफ सिस्टम, and when you add it to the delta S of surroundings, you will get always a value which is greater than 0 if the actual process is irreversible. So this is the significance कि हमें या तो greater than 0 चाहिए वैल्यू या फिर हमें exactly equal to 0 चाहिए वैल्यू, बस, और कुछ अलग से नहीं आना चाहिए। इसके लिए इस तरीके से डिफाइन किया गया था डेल्टा सिस्टम। क्लियर? Now is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. तो ये अलग से मैंने डेरिवेशंस का एक ये बनाया है, ये जो भी किया है ये पूरा डेरिवेशंस के लिए है, ये फाइल ग्रुप पे मैंने डाल दिया है ऑलरेडी। नाउ लेट्स गो बैक टू दिस in case anybody wants to know the derivation for work done in reversible, isothermal and adiabatic, all those things, तो उस पे आ जाता है। ये हम लोगों ने तभी नहीं किया था, इसके लिए अभी दिखा रहा हूँ। Work done in a reversible isothermal process. मैंने आपको सिर्फ फॉर्मूले दिए थे तभी, so I'm just showing you the derivation now. So as you know, the generalized version of work done is minus PdV, V1 to V2 are the limits. If the process is reversible, then external pressure is same as the pressure of the gas. For an ideal gas, P is equal to nRT by V. Temperature is constant for isothermal process. ये सब डालोगे तो यहाँ पे आ जाएगा work done. This work done is for what? It is for a reversible isothermal process. तो ये कैसे आया? ये इसलिए आया because we have assumed that P external is equal to P gas, जो आज मैंने समझाया आपको expansion reversible के example से। So for any reversible process, चाहे वो compression हो या expansion हो, the external pressure, that is the sand particles जो थे, that pressure is exactly counterbalanced by the pressure inside when the piston stops at a particular position. So external pressure is equal to the pressure of the gas at every point where the piston stops. यानी प्रेशर कंटिन्यूअसली वेरी कर रहा है हर पॉइंट पे, बिकॉज एक्सपेंशन के केस में वो कम होता जा रहा है धीरे धीरे और कंप्रेशन के केस में वो बढ़ रहा है धीरे धीरे हर पॉइंट पे। इसके लिए हम लोग प्रेशर को इंटीग्रल साइन के अंदर रख के ही इंटीग्रेट कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज द वैल्यू ऑफ प्रेशर इज चेंजिंग एट एवरी पॉइंट। Now work done in a reversible adiabatic process. इसको थोड़ा देखो, मैंने दो तरीके से इसका डेरिवेशन किया है। एक तो पहले यूजिंग फर्स्ट लॉ ऑफ थर्मोडायनामिक्स, delta U is equal to W plus Q, but Q is 0 and so delta U becomes equal to W. Delta U is equal to M Cv delta T for any ideal gas. Mayer's formula says Cp minus Cv is equal to R, and also we know that Cp upon Cv is equal to gamma. On solving those two equations, we get Cv as R by gamma minus 1. Put the value of Cv as r by gamma minus 1, तो आपको ये मिल जाएगा value of work done. Delta T is final temperature minus initial temperature. Now, another way of showing you the derivation. Another way of showing you this derivation. तो ये तो शॉर्टकट था, एक बहुत छोटा सा क्रिस्प सा एक मेथड था. जो दूसरा मेथड है वो थोड़ा लंबा है, but I wanted to show that also. So let's start with that. For a reversible adiabatic process, if you remember, I clearly told you that PV to the power of gamma is equal to constant. This is applicable only for a reversible adiabatic process, not for an irreversible adiabatic process. Only and only for a reversible adiabatic process, we can say that PV to the power of gamma is constant. Be very careful, they can ask you a question like this. Is always PV to the power of gamma equal to constant true for adiabatic processes? So you will say no. This is not true for all types of adiabatic processes. This is only true if the adiabatic process is a reversible adiabatic process. So I can use this equation, that is PV to the power of gamma is constant only for a reversible adiabatic process. K is the constant. On solving this further and expressing P in terms of volume, I can get P equal to KV to the power of minus gamma. Integrate, that is work is equal to minus PdV from V1 to V2. On integrating, I'll get this. Now, I can make one adjustment. What adjustment I can make? So the adjustment which I can make is this. I can multiply K, that is I can take K inside the brackets and I can multiply, and that minus sign can be taken in the denominator. So minus gamma plus 1 will become gamma minus 1 because now that minus which was present in the numerator has been taken in the denominator. Also, I can say K is this, that is P1 V1 to the power of gamma is equal to P2 V2 to the power of gamma, because PV to the power of gamma is constant. So instead of writing K, I can write like this, P1 V1 to the power of gamma, or I can write P2 V2 to the power of gamma. That's what I've written K as. So K has been written in this manner, P2 V2 to the power of gamma, or it can be written as P1 V1 to the power of gamma. So on solving this, we will get this. If the gas is ideal, then PV is equal to nRT. So P2 V2 will be equal to nRT2 and P1 V1 will be equal to nRT1. Take out nR common, and so you get this. So we again got the same formula which we obtained using just the first law of thermodynamics. That is, this same formula is back. This already we have done, so fine. So we have completed the derivations related to entropy and work. Now there is another very common derivation for delta S of an ideal gas. That is, if they don't mention the process to be isothermal or adiabatic or isochoric, if nothing is mentioned in the question, then which formula do we have to use? And let's say the temperature is changing and also the volume is changing. Also the pressure is changing. That means nothing is constant. Then how will we calculate the value of delta S? So then we will calculate the value of delta S as this. Let's come back to that. Now, let's say we have delta S for an ideal gas which is undergoing some process wherein pressure is also changing, volume is also changing, and temperature is also changing. So this is the general expression. How do we get this expression now? So come to this derivation now. du is equal to dq plus dw. dw is equal to minus pdv. So I'll put those things according to the first law. For an ideal gas, P is equal to nRT upon V. So I'll put that also. And for an ideal gas also, du is equal to ncv dt. And integrate. So this entire thing is dq. Right? This entire thing is dq. On integrating. So if temperature is changing from T1 to T2, T1 is the initial temperature and T2 is the final temperature. Also, if the volume is changing, then V1 is the initial temperature and V2 is the final. V1 is the initial volume and V2 is the final volume. N is the number of moles. So this is what I'll get if I solve this problem. And then converting ln to log. So this is the final formula. Coming to the fourth point, this we have not done yet. So let's come to this. Irreversible adiabatic process. What we did earlier was irreversible isothermal process. Now we are doing irreversible adiabatic process. So this is just obtained from values of experiments. So just remember this. Delta S system is always positive for an irreversible adiabatic process. And delta S surroundings is 0. Now, why is the delta S surroundings equal to 0? The delta S surroundings will be equal to 0 because actually nothing has happened between the system and surroundings. No heat has been exchanged between the system and surroundings. So that means I can say that heat exchanged by surroundings is 0. No heat has been gained by the surroundings. No heat has been lost by the surroundings because it is actually an adiabatic process. So we say that delta S surroundings is equal to 0 because the surroundings have not taken heat. Also, the surroundings have not given heat. So heat, that dq will become 0. So integral dq upon t will also be 0 and delta S surroundings is going to be 0. Now delta S system, why is that not equal to 0? That is positive. That is not equal to 0. That much is for sure. Now why is delta S system not equal to 0? Why is delta S system not equal to 0? Can anybody give a reason for this? Go by the definition of delta S system and then tell me. I'm giving you 1 minute. Think and tell me. The explanation is given very nicely at the end of this, but I'll show you that after some time, not immediately. What is the definition of delta S system? What is the definition of delta S system? Right? What happened? So what is delta S system in general?
यार ऊपर वाला वो जो फॉर्मूला
नहीं formula छोड़ो. What all things do we need for calculating delta S system? Tell me that.
पर dq और टेम्परेचर
बस इतना ही और कुछ कंडीशन नहीं है.
सर रिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस होनी चाहिए सिस्टम के लिए नहीं भी हुआ तो
सिस्टम के लिए रिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस होना चाहिए in order to reach the same फाइनल स्टेट. यानी फाइनल स्टेट चेंज नहीं होना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि रिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस फॉलो किया और फाइनल स्टेट कुछ और हो गया, यानी वॉल्यूम जो होना चाहिए था वो नहीं हुआ या टेम्परेचर जो होना चाहिए था वो नहीं हुआ. दैट विल नॉट बी एक्सेप्टेड. आपको ऐसे एक पाथ चाहिए, ऐसा रिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस फॉलो करना है सो दैट द फाइनल स्टेट इज द सेम जो इरिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस में गया था. दैट इज द कंडीशन. Correct? So what happens? So now I'll come to the explanation. Okay. Irreversible adiabatic process. let's say V1, T1 and P1 are the initial states. V2, T2 and P2 are the final state. I mean, A and D are the initial and final states of the system. So V1 is the initial volume, T1 is the initial temperature, P1 is the initial pressure. Similarly, P2 is the final pressure, V2 is the final volume, T2 is the final temperature. Okay. And if the process is happening in an irreversible manner, that is irreversible adiabatic manner, so now we need an alternative reversible process so that I reach the same state B after the process. I must reach B as the final state. I must reach B as the final state after completion of the reversible process. Now, we need to devise an alternative reversible path between the two states, that is between V1 and V2, that is P1, P2, V1, V2 and T1, T2. So initial and final states. If the path is reversible adiabatic, the temperature will not be same as what it was when the path was actually irreversibly adiabatic. This is the fact. So what is the fact? The final temperatures in an adiabatic reversible and adiabatic irreversible processes are not the same. Okay, so now it has been seen that if you are trying to construct or devise an alternative reversible adiabatic path between state A and state B, then the final temperature does not become T2. That means the final temperature that you had obtained using the actual irreversible path is T2. But now the final temperature that you are achieving after following an adiabatic reversible path is becoming T2 dash. Which means, so if they ask you in the exam or if they give you any option, then you have to say that the final temperatures in adiabatic reversible and adiabatic irreversible are not the same. The final temperatures in adiabatic reversible and adiabatic irreversible processes are not the same. So the temperature will change. The moment the temperature has changed, that means one variable has changed. That means you have not reached your final state B. You have reached some other state. So this is a fact. If
सर
two
इसका कोई
states,
रीजन है?
it is mathematical highly. तो इस लेवल पे छोड़ दो. इस लेवल पे तो हम लोग नहीं कर रहे हैं. This is a fact which you accept.
सर और कौन सा ज्यादा होता है?
हाँ, that I'm telling. So if two states A and B are connected by an irreversible adiabatic path, they cannot be connected by an alternative reversible adiabatic path to reach those values which were obtained when the process was irreversible adiabatic. So actually जो आपका temperature आप achieve करते हो using the irreversible path, यानी जो actual path है, यानी actual process है, वो actual process में जो temperature achieve हो रहा है, that is different from the temperature which you will be achieving if the process is a reversible one. So this is a fact which you have to state. If two states A and B are connected by an irreversible adiabatic path, they cannot be connected by an alternative reversible adiabatic path to reach the same values of P2, V2 and T2 which were obtained when the process was actually irreversible adiabatic. So to calculate delta S for an irreversible adiabatic process, we simply need an alternative reversible path or a series of reversible processes so as to finally reach the state B corresponding to P2, V2, T2. यानी हमें T2 डैश नहीं चाहिए ना, हमें तो एक्चुअल T2 वाला ही रीच करना है. So हमें रिवर्सिबल पाथ इस तरीके से चुनना है ताकि हमें अल्टीमेटली P2, V2, T2 ही मिले जो इनिशियली B के लिए थे, यानी जो B का स्टेट है. B, व्हाट इज स्टेट B? स्टेट B के वैल्यूज है P2, V2 एंड T2. So, अगर मुझे P2, V2 एंड T2 तक पहुंचना है तो मुझे रिवर्सिबल पाथ फॉलो करके अगर पहुंचना है तो उस केस में मुझे वो adiabatic बनाना पॉसिबल नहीं है. दिस इज द फैक्ट व्हिच आई रोट हियर. adiabatic अल्टरनेटिव पाथ अगर आप रिवर्सिबली चुनोगे तो वो टेम्परेचर कभी भी आप वो अचीव नहीं कर सकते जो अचीव हुआ था यूजिंग एन इरिवर्सिबल पाथ. So temperature will change. Even if you manage to reach the same volume, the temperature will not be the same. तो हम लोग क्या करते हैं
सर, इसमें हम लोग डायरेक्टली आइडियल गैस वाला फॉर्मूला क्यों नहीं लगाते?
यस लगा लेंगे, वो तो लगाएंगे ना, लेकिन मैं इसका रीजन स्टेट कर रहा हूँ बस, और कुछ नहीं लगाना तो है ही. So to calculate the delta S for an irreversible adiabatic process, what should we do in case they ask that? That is why I have written this. So if we, because ये books में नहीं रहता है, इसके लिए दे दिया मैंने. So to calculate delta S for an irreversible adiabatic process, we just need an alternative reversible path. See, the point is we need an alternative reversible path, but that reversible path will not be an adiabatic one. The moment I see that the alternative path will not be an adiabatic one, immediately that means that there will be something like DQ involved, because अभी वो adiabatic है नहीं, अभी तो वो adiabatic है नहीं जो रिवर्सिबल पाथ आपने चुना. तो आपका मकसद क्या है? आपका मकसद यह है कि वो रिवर्सिबल पाथ होना चाहिए, पहली बात वो प्रोसेस रिवर्सिबल होना चाहिए अल्टरनेटिव जो चुना है, और दूसरी बात वो प्रोसेस चूज करके अल्टीमेटली स्टेट बी तक पहुंचना है. बस यही तो नेसेसरी कंडीशंस है और कोई नेसेसरी कंडीशन नहीं है. So the DQ value will not be 0 because now the reversible path is no longer adiabatic. So this is the point. The reversible paths will not be adiabatic. The necessary condition is that the path to reach B must be reversible. So heat transfer is possible and so Q is not equal to 0 in this alternative reversible path. तो इसके लिए dq का टर्म जो आएगा वो 0 नहीं होगा, and that is why that delta S comes out to be more than 0. Example. Let us take an example तो आपको क्लियर हो जाएगा. Example में क्या लिया है? A is initial state and B is final state. So irreversible adiabatic expansion मानो हो रहा है किसी आइडियल गैस का. So initial pressure, volume, temperature ये सब है, final pressure, volume, temperature ये सब है. So I can say this because NCV T2 minus T1, it is NCV delta T is equal to work done. Because the process is irreversible, I will use this formula of work done, that is minus P external into V2 minus V1. This is the formula of the work done. तो ये चुना है मैंने. इसको अगर मैं सॉल्व करूंगा तो फाइनली टेम्परेचर का वैल्यू ये आएगा. This is the actual temperature which is achieved when the final state is B. Now, let us now devise the following two reversible processes to reach from A to B. First, isocodic process, that is the volume is constant in an isocodic process. तो अगर मैंने लिया एक ऐसा प्रोसेस जहाँ पे मैंने सिर्फ टेम्परेचर को चेंज कर दिया लेकिन मैंने वॉल्यूम को कांस्टेंट रखा तो ये वाला फॉर्मूला एप्लीकेबल होगा. दिस इज एन अल्टरनेटिव रिवर्सिबल पाथ. So this is an alternative reversible path which I have chosen to reach from A to B. So how am I doing that? I have taken one isocodic process wherein the temperature is T2, final temperature. Correct? इसको solve करूंगा तो ये वाला आ जाएगा. Now, after I have done this isocodic process, I finally need to change the volume also because the final volume is what? V2 was the final volume which I need. यहाँ पे तो V1 ही है ना, आइसोकोडिक में तो V1 ही रहेगा, V2 तो होगा नहीं क्योंकि वो आइसोकोडिक है. अब मुझे अगर V2 तक पहुंचना है, अब T2 तक तो मैं ऑलरेडी पहुंच चुका हूं बिकॉज़ आइसोकोडिक में ही मैंने टेम्परेचर को T2 कर दिया. तो T2 तक मैं पहुंच चुका हूं, मतलब मैंने टेम्परेचर फाइनल अचीव कर लिया है. But I have not yet been able to achieve the final volume. So again I will subject it to an isothermal process to change the volume and in this way I can do this. So ultimately ये आ जाएगा फिर Q and delta S for this process. I will add up the two in order to achieve the total. And now we have finally achieved, that is reached state B.
सर ये किसी भी केस में नेगेटिव नहीं होगा ना?
नहीं, अब एक्सपेरिमेंटली यही है, किसी भी केस में नेगेटिव नहीं होगा. यानी इसका मतलब ये हुआ चाहे वो अडायाबेटिक एक्सपेंशन हो या अडायाबेटिक कंप्रेशन हो, आपको ये वैल्यू या तो ज्यादा पॉजिटिव आएगा या फिर आपका ये वैल्यू ज्यादा पॉजिटिव आएगा. What I'm trying to say here is अगर मानो प्रोसेस अडायाबेटिक एक्सपेंशन है, अगर मानो प्रोसेस अडियाबेटिक एक्सपेंशन है तो एक्सपेंशन में क्या होता है? दिस बिकम्स मोर देन दिस. तो वो वैल्यू इस तरीके से आएगा कि ये बहुत ज्यादा हो जाएगा. ये इतना ज्यादा होगा कि ये भले ही अगर नेगेटिव आ भी गया तो ये दोनों का सम जो होगा वो फिर पॉजिटिव आ जाएगा. और अगर मैंने प्रोसेस लिया कंप्रेशन तो V2 विल बी लेस देन V1. तो फिर ये वाली चीज नेगेटिव हो जाएगी लेकिन फिर ये वाली चीज पॉजिटिव हो जाएगी बिकॉज इन अ कंप्रेशन T2 इज मोर देन T1 in an adiabatic compression. तो फिर ये उसको संभाल लेगा और again the ultimately sum will be positive. So in general if I say for any irreversible adiabatic process delta S system is always positive but delta S surroundings is 0 and so if I add the two, that is delta S system plus delta S surroundings, the total will be again positive. And this is the second law of thermodynamics, that is for any spontaneous or irreversible process, the total delta S is always positive. तो ये आपका प्रूफ है. बट हाँ, आपको बस ये फॉर्मूला याद रखना है, आपको ये डिटेल्ड एनालिसिस में जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. इट इज जस्ट फॉर पीपल हु वांट टू नो.
बट हमने दो केसेस कैसे अज्यूम कर लिया और दोनों को ऐड क्यों किया हम लोगों ने?
तुम 2 केसेस अज्यूम करो, 3 केसेस अज्यूम करो, 4 केसेस अज्यूम करो, उससे क्या फर्क पड़ता है? एंट्रोपी इज अ स्टेट फंक्शन. यू जस्ट हैव टू रीच स्टेट बी.
ओके.
हमें क्या, हमारा मकसद सिर्फ 2 है. क्या 2 मकसद है? पहला मकसद आई हैव टू रीच स्टेट बी, दैट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग. आई हैव टू रीच फाइनल स्टेट बी. सेकंड क्या है हमारा इंटेंशन कि the processes that I have used to reach state B must be reversible. Every process must be reversible. That it, not a single process can be reversible. So every process that I choose for reaching state B has to be reversible. बस यही तो इंटेंशन है और यही तो कंडीशन है डेल्टा एस सिस्टम निकालने के, और कुछ नहीं.
सर तो मैं यहाँ पे कोई और 2-3 सेट भी ले सकती हूँ ना?
यस, अगर क्वेश्चन में दिया गया
तो लास्ट डेल्टा एस का जो आपने एक्सप्रेशन दिया वो हर केस में चेंज होगा ना?
नहीं होगा. फाइनली आंसर वही होगा. एक्सप्रेशन चेंज भी होगा तो फाइनल वैल्यू वही आएगा बिकॉज़ एंट्रोपी इज अ स्टेट फंक्शन. Accordingly, your other values will also change, like temperature, volume, and all those things.
Okay, sir.
Final value will be the same. So this was just to explain that entropy is a state function. इसके लिए तो उसका definition ऐसे किया गया है ना, ताकि वो state function हर वक्त हो. All right, going ahead. So in general इतना डिटेल में जाने की अगर जरूरत नहीं है, तो फोर्थ वाला पॉइंट बस आप याद कर सकते हो. That delta S system is always positive for an irreversible adiabatic process, and delta S surroundings is always zero for an irreversible adiabatic process. बस इतना आप याद कर सकते हो. Okay, now if I want to ask you one question, अभी इतना एंट्रोपी के बारे में पढ़ा है, तो एक क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहूंगा. अगर मैं बोलूं कि ऐसा मेरा कोई सिस्टम है, just apply your conceptual knowledge, don't go by mathematics now. दो क्वेश्चंस पूछूंगा मैं, तो एंट्रोपी और भी क्लियर हो जाएगा. मानो मैंने यहाँ पे पहले एक स्टॉपकॉक टाइप कुछ लगा दिया, and if this is having an adiabatic wall, that means no heat exchange is permitted between system and surroundings. ऐसा टाइप. और मैंने क्या किया है, अगर इसको मैंने adiabatic wall बना दिया है, मतलब I can say what?
Q is 0.
Exactly. Q is 0, or I can say that the system is an isolated system. Closed नहीं, isolated. System is क्योंकि यहाँ पे कोई movable piston भी नहीं है, तो कोई work done भी possible नहीं है. कोई work done possible आपका नहीं. So I can straight away say that this is an isolated system. What is my system? This is my system. There are gas molecules present. Let's say there are two different gases. अब सेम हो डिफरेंट हो उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ रहा है, बट जस्ट मैंने एक ऐसा एग्जांपल दिया कि दिस इज गैस ए एंड दिस इज गैस बी. मानो दो अलग अलग गैसेस हैं, एंड द गैसेस आर नॉन रिएक्टिव. लेट्स से दे आर नॉट रिएक्टिंग विद ईच अदर. ओके, नाउ द क्वेश्चन टू इज दैट बिकॉज इट इज आइसोलेटेड, Q इज 0, वो सब है. अब दो कंपार्टमेंट सेग्रीगेटेड है बिकॉज बीच में कुछ उनका स्टॉपकॉक जैसा लगा हुआ है. नाउ इफ आई आस्क यू कि if I open the stopcock, yeah, if I open this stopcock, और stopcock open करने के बाद gases का mixing हो जाएगा. अभी खोल दिया ना, तो gases है, तो वो तो randomly they can move in any direction. You cannot restrict that movement. So what is happening to the entropy of the system? And also what is happening to the entropy of the surroundings? Comment on this.
Sir, entropy of
Entropy of
surroundings.
surrounding is same, and of system it increases.
Please repeat, I did not hear the last part.
Sir, entropy of system increases and same for surrounding.
And entropy of surroundings is?
Same.
Same, constant.
Okay. Okay, correct. So can I say that it is delta S surroundings equal to 0? Can I say it is an example of the fourth category? This fourth thing which you
Yes, sir.
see, irreversible adiabatic process. तो ये भी एक irreversible adiabatic process ही हुआ. क्यों adiabatic? Q is equal to 0, so it's adiabatic. Why is it irreversible? अब मैंने अगर gases को mix कर दिया, तो क्या वापस मैं अगर stopcock को जोड़ दूंगा, क्या वो वापस A और B compartments में आ जाएंगे gases?
No.
No, they will not come back on their own because diffusion is a spontaneous process. Diffusion happens on its own. You did not do anything. And that is why I can say that this process is also a spontaneous process. In other words, I can say that an irreversible adiabatic process is a spontaneous process. And that is how I am defining the second law of thermodynamics. So what does the second law of thermodynamics say? The second law of thermodynamics says that the total change in entropy of the universe, that is delta S system plus delta S surroundings, is always greater than 0 for any irreversible process. चाहे वो adiabatic हो या isothermal हो, कुछ भी हो. The process, if the process is irreversible, then total delta S system plus delta S surroundings, the sum is always greater than 0. Or in other words, I can say that delta S universe is always greater than 0. So, यहाँ पे अगर आप मैथमेटिकली सॉल्व करने जाओगे तो आंसर गलत आ जाएगा. आप बोलोगे डेल्टा एस इज इक्वल टू क्यू बाय टी. अब क्यू तो 0 है तो 0 बाय टी डालो 0. रॉन्ग. कुछ लोग ये करेंगे ना, अब क्यू 0 है तो सीधा वो 0 डाल देंगे डी क्यू में. तो 0 बाय टी इज 0, इंटीग्रल ऑफ 0 इज 0. तो आप बोलोगे डेल्टा एस सिस्टम इज 0, डेल्टा एस सराउंडिंग्स इज आल्सो 0. गलत. गलत हो जाएगा. डेल्टा सराउंडिंग 0 है, दैट इज ओके, बट डेल्टा सिस्टम थोड़ी 0 है. याद रखो एक चीज, कभी भी अगर मिक्सिंग हो रहा है, मिक्सिंग इज ऑलवेज कैरेक्टराइज्ड बाय एन इंक्रीज इन एंट्रोपी. सो डेल्टा एस सिस्टम इज ऑलवेज पॉजिटिव फॉर मिक्सिंग. तो ये वाला केस ये था. ठीक है. अब आते हैं वापस और एक क्वेश्चन. ये भी एक अच्छा क्वेश्चन है, कंसेप्चुअल है. चलो ये तो आपको समझ में आ गया, तो दूसरा देखते हैं क्वेश्चन. अगर आपको एग्जाम में कभी इरिवर्सिबल अडियाबैटिक प्रोसेस का एग्जांपल पूछे तो आप ये एग्जांपल दे सकते हैं जो मैंने अभी लिया. So it is easier rather than going through the detailed analysis that I showed in the last 2 pages, that mathematical calculation and all those things. वो सब करने की जरूरत नहीं. सीधा आप ये वाला एग्जांपल दे सकते हो. That is mixing of two gases which were initially separated by a stopcock. That example can be given. Now next question. Next question. If I'm asking you that, okay, if I'm saying that a reversible adiabatic expansion is happening, if I'm saying that a reversible adiabatic expansion is happening, तो आपको मालूम है पहले से ही कि an adiabatic expansion causes cooling. My question to you is that, see, in an adiabatic expansion, in a reversible adiabatic expansion, I repeat, in a reversible adiabatic expansion, why is delta S system equal to 0? देखो लिखा है यहाँ पे, reversible adiabatic process, massive expansion का पूछ रहा हूँ फिलहाल. In a reversible adiabatic expansion of an ideal gas, why is this delta S system equal to 0 even when, अब मैथमेटिकली मुझे प्रूफ मत करो, मैं ये पूछ रहा हूँ कि even when I am expanding, then more area is available for the gas to move. वॉल्यूम बढ़ रहा है ना एक्सपेंशन में. अगर वॉल्यूम बढ़ रहा है एक्सपेंशन में, तो वो गैस मॉलिक्यूल्स और भी ज्यादा रैंडमली मूव कर सकते हैं, उनको तो मूवमेंट का एरिया और भी ज्यादा मिल रहा है. और मैंने आपको पहले ही बताया था कि अगर मूवमेंट मॉलिक्यूल्स का ज्यादा हो रहा है मतलब एंट्रोपी तो बढ़ना चाहिए सर.
लेकिन
सर पर
टेम्परेचर
टेम्परेचर
कम हो
रिड्यूस हो रहा है ना, तो उसकी वजह से फिर कैंसिल हो जाएगा.
Yes,
मूवमेंट थोड़ी कम हो जाएगी.
वेरी गुड. सो व्हाट हैपेंस इज, वो एक्सपेंशन में वॉल्यूम तो बढ़ रहा है, मूवमेंट तो बढ़ रहा है, लेकिन वो मूवमेंट बढ़ने का चांस नहीं हो रहा है क्योंकि वो टेम्परेचर भी साथ ही साथ कम हो रहा है. अगर टेम्परेचर कम हो रहा है बिकॉज adiabatic expansion causes cooling, so the two effects nullify each other. Which two effects? One is the increase in the volume or space available for the gas molecules to move, and the other effect is the decrease in temperature. तो automatically energy kinetic कम हो रही है gas molecules की, तो मूवमेंट नहीं होगा. तो टू इफेक्ट्स अपोजिंग इफेक्ट से काउंटर बैलेंस हो चुके हैं और इसके लिए आपका वो 0 होता है, चेंज इन एंट्रोपी ऑफ द सिस्टम. देयर इज अनदर वे ऑफ प्रूविंग दिस. अगर मैं आपको बोलूं कि मैथमेटिकली आप इसको अच्छे से समझाओ तो और एक इसका तरीका है, तो मैंने नीचे लिखा है. आई विल एक्सप्लेन दैट नाउ. These are just different ways of playing with equations, nothing else. Therefore, if you remember, we have derived this formula. T1 V1 to the power of gamma minus 1 is equal to T2 V2 to the power of gamma minus 1. This we have already derived in the second lecture. कैसे? मैंने बोला था याद है कि P V to the power of gamma is constant for a reversible adiabatic process. तो automatically P1 V1 to the power of gamma is equal to P2 V2 to the power of gamma, और फिर आप डाल सकते हो P1 को NR T1 upon V1 वो सब करके ये वाला हम लोगों ने प्रूव किया था, ये वाला रिजल्ट, करेक्ट? तो उसको यूज करके भी हम लोग प्रूव कर सकते हैं. Now see, this formula also we have derived today. In general, the formula for an ideal gas, I mean the formula of delta S for an ideal gas. मैंने बोला था याद है कि टेम्परेचर भी वेरी हो रहा है, या इन जनरल कुछ भी बोला नहीं है क्वेश्चन के अंदर, तो हम लोग ये नहीं बोल सकते ना कि वो आइसोथर्मल है या आइसोकोरिक है, कुछ भी अगर मेंशन नहीं है तो वी कैन नॉट अज्यूम. तो हम लोग इन जनरल फिर ये वाला फॉर्मूला यूज करते हैं टेस्ट के लिए, इफ इट इज एन आइडियल गैस. अब अगर टेम्परेचर, अगर प्रोसेस रिवर्सिबल एडियाबैटिक हो, तो मैं ये बोल सकता हूं कि T1 V1 to the power of gamma minus 1 is equal to T2 V2 to the power of gamma minus 1. Properties of logarithms if you use here, तो T2 by T1 को पहले मैं V1 by V2 to the power of gamma minus 1 लिखूंगा यहाँ से.
हाँ सर, आ जाएगा इससे.
और फिर यहाँ से ये आ जाएगा, फिर गामा माइनस 1 पावर में है तो वो लॉग के बाहर आ जाएगा,
CV खोल देंगे.
ये आ जाएगा. फिर CV को भी खोल सकते हैं, बिकॉज़ CV इज व्हाट R अपॉन गामा माइनस 1, तो R आ जाएगा सीधा CV मल्टीप्लाइड बाय गामा माइनस 1. तो फिर से देखो ये भी 0 आएगा. So this is also another way of obtaining the same result.
सर कंप्रेशन के केस में हम प्रेशर में बता देंगे ना रिलेशन.
मतलब मैं बता सकते हो, क्या फर्क पड़ेगा, चाहे ये एक्सपेंशन हो या कंप्रेशन हो, दोनों के लिए ये तो सेम ही रहेगा ना. कंप्रेशन में क्या होगा, V2 will be less than V1 and T2 will be more than T1. वो तो वैल्यूज डालोगे तो, बट यहाँ पे हम लोग तो वैल्यूज डाल ही नहीं रहे ना, हम लोग तो ऑटोमेटिकली यहाँ पे 0 ही आ गया, चाहे वो T2 more than T1 हो या T2 less than T1 हो, यानी चाहे कंप्रेशन हो या चाहे एक्सपेंशन हो, अल्टीमेटली तो तुमको ये कट जाएगा ना सब कुछ. You are not putting actual values, you are just using variables here. तो कुछ भी हो, एक्सपेंशन हो या कंप्रेशन हो, आपका एक्सप्रेशन तो यही रहने वाला है. यहाँ पे आप लोगों ने एक्सपेंशन नहीं लिया है, यहाँ पे इन जनरल लिया है हम लोगों ने. बस फर्क ये है कि अगर एक्सपेंशन होगा तो V2 will be more than V1 and T2 will be less than T1, और अगर कंप्रेशन होगा तो V2 will be less than V1 and T2 will be more than T1. That's the only thing, that's all. बट अल्टीमेटली वो 0 ही आएगा ना, कुछ भी करो तो. क्यों? क्योंकि ये रिजल्ट तो वैसे भी सही है ना, that T1 V1 to the power of gamma minus 1 is equal to T2 V2 to the power of gamma minus 1. ये रिजल्ट तो वैसे भी सही है ना, चाहे वो एक्सपेंशन हो या कंप्रेशन हो. करेक्ट?
यस सर.
Okay. Okay, now let's do some questions. Let us talk today for the second law and all these things. Next lecture we will continue. आज थोड़ा भी ये करते हैं, क्वेश्चंस करते हैं. So question अगर करना है चलो क्वेश्चन कहाँ से करेंगे? अब मैं गौरव बिलानी सर ने एक पीडीएफ डाला था कल ग्रुप पे, वहां से आप प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हैं. इट्स अ वेरी नाइस पीडीएफ, रेजोनेंस का है. तो questions can be practiced from that PDF because then you will get a clear feeling as to how you should go ahead with the preparation of this chapter. It's because that chapter, which the questions which are present in that chapter, in that PDF, are very apt for exams. That is, they are apt for JEE. ऐसा कुछ उल्टा सीधा जो फालतू चीजें है वो सब कुछ नहीं है, जो काम की चीजें बस उतना ही है. इसके लिए बोल रहा हूँ मैं. यू प्लीज फॉलो दैट पीडीएफ व्हिच सर सेंट यस्टरडे ऑन द ग्रुप. वहां से आप सिर्फ क्वेश्चंस कर लोगे, आपको कुछ करने की और क्वेश्चंस कहीं और से क्वेश्चंस करने की जरूरत नहीं. तो वहां से कुछ क्वेश्चंस उठाते हैं. बिकॉज सीए के अंदर थर्मोडायनामिक्स भी है ना. So let's take some questions. Second law is not there. Entropy and all these things are not there for CA. CA में सिर्फ जो लास्ट लेक्चर तक पढ़ाया था उतना ही है. चलो एक क्वेश्चन करते हैं. This is the question. $50 50 liters of a certain liquid is confined in a piston system at the external pressure of at the external pressure of 100 atm. This pressure is suddenly released and the liquid is expanded against atmospheric pressure. Volume of the liquid increases by 1 liter. final pressure of the liquid is 10 atm. They have specified these units. That means what? That means the answer should not be in joules. They have clearly said calculate work done in L atm. So start.
सर अब नीचे से कर सकते हैं थोड़ा नीचे क्वेश्चन
हाँ नीचे. हाँ हाँ. Very simple question. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Follow that PDF thoroughly. It's so simple.
सर आपको चैट पे भेजा है
हाँ 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 मैं देख रहा हूँ रुको वही मैं देख रहा हूँ -1 आर्यन एंड पार्थ में क्या भेजा -1 ओके someone sent -90
सर -1 ही आ रहा है
ओके who said -90 then उसका नाम नहीं दिख रहा है कौन है ये
दिखना तो चाहिए मतलब आप चैट पे दो
Z ऐसा रहा है
सर मैं
Z
था सर वो गलती से मैंने पीबी डीपी कर दिया उसको मतलब डेल्टा पी कर
नहीं
दिया
नहीं बट नाम क्या है नाम नहीं दिख रहा है मुझे
सर लिखा है मैंने एक मिनट
ZSWI
हाँ हाँ मेरा है सर
20 वो क्या है वो पता नहीं दिख नहीं रहा है पूरा व्हाट इज दैट व्हाट इज योर नेम
सर शौनक
ओके पता नहीं वो तो नहीं दिख रहा है यहाँ पे तो कुछ ऐसे ही दिख रहा है
हाँ सर वो एकदम बाद में लिखा हुआ है इसलिए आपको नहीं दिख रहा शायद से
ओके ओके पता नहीं नेक्स्ट टाइम से ना यू राइट योर प्रॉपर नेम लाइक अदर्स हैव रिटन
हाँ सर वो बाद में लिखा था
नहीं वो चेंज कर दो अगली बार से टीचर्स को ये होता है ना कन्वीनियंट रहता है ओके सो एवरीबॉडी हैज गॉट द आंसर राइट सो इट इज अ सिंपल वन ये क्या है व्हाट इज दिस टाइप ऑफ प्रोसेस
irreversible
इट इज इरिवर्सिबल पहली बात तो बिकॉज कांस्टेंट एक्सटर्नल प्रेशर के अगेंस्ट छोड़ा है आपने सडनली किया है कोई भी काम तो इरिवर्सिबल होगा क्योंकि झटके से वो प्रोसेस होता है फिर एंड आंसर बोला है अगर लीटर एटीएम में है तो आपको लीटर और एटीएम में यूज करना पड़ेगा नो नीड टू कन्वर्ट टू जूल्स मीटर क्यूब एंड पास्कल्स वर्क डन इन एन इरिवर्सिबल प्रोसेस इज ओनली गिवन बाय दिस फार्मूला कुछ और लगाना होता ही नहीं है एंड दिस इज द एक्सटर्नल प्रेशर एक्सटर्नल प्रेशर इज व्हाट एटमॉस्फेरिक, तो 1 atm लिया जाएगा. V2 minus V1 is called delta V. V2 minus V1 अलग से तो नहीं दिया है V2 और V1, लेकिन हाँ
सर बट
delta V is
प्रेशर
given.
चेंज भी तो हो रहा है ना अंदर.
तो क्या हुआ? वर्क डन का फॉर्मूला तो यही है ना. वर्क डन का फॉर्मूला क्या है? डेल्टा V.
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
डेल्टा P नहीं है, डेल्टा V है. तुम क्या बोल रहे हो? तुम ये बोल रहे हो क्या कि nRT2 अपॉन P2 ऐसा बोल रहे हो?
हाँ मैं
तो
वही
उसके लिए
कर रहा
फिर T2 भी तो होना चाहिए ना. तो फिर T2 by P2 भी तो होना चाहिए, NR भी तो N भी तो होना चाहिए. कुछ भी दिया नहीं है तो डायरेक्ट डेल्टा V यूज करेंगे ना.
हूँ. हाँ
अगर T2 P2 दिया रहेगा तो T2 P2 यूज करेंगे. यहाँ पे T2 दिया नहीं है. ओके. और उन्होंने ये भी नहीं बोला है कि वो आइसोथर्मल है कि एडियाबैटिक है. हैव दे टोल्ड? आई डोंट थिंक सो. दे हैव नॉट मेंशन्ड. तो अगर
नहीं.
एडियाबैटिक आइसोथर्मल नहीं बोला है तो आप अज्यूम भी नहीं कर सकते कुछ कि एडियाबैटिक है या आइसोथर्मल है. तो सीधा डेल्टा V लेना पड़ेगा, V2 minus V1. So delta V is given. Volume of liquid increases by 1 liter. That means delta V is equal to +1. अगर बोलते decreases तो delta V is equal to -1 होता. हो गया -1 into 1 -1 liter ATM. हो गया आंसर. This is the work done. Now if I ask you what is the work done by the gas, then what will you say?
1 ATM.
1 liter ATM.
1 liter ATM. You will take the modulus and then say. All right. तो भाई यहाँ पे डेल्टा P का कोई ये नहीं है, सिर्फ P एक्सटर्नल जो है वो कांस्टेंट है, वो लेना है आपको. All right. Next question. चलो next question is nice one. ये नहीं यहाँ से लेता हूँ. Okay. Okay. So the next question is, when 1 mole of monoatomic ideal gas at T Kelvin Okay, next question is this.